Hey, thanks and welcome for today's session. I am really looking forward to talk and well, let's see what's going on. Last week it was pretty cool. So if you have questions, there's a Q&A section. We'll try to cover as many of those as possible. But with me today, I have uh, yeah, Deepan that would share a little about, or Deepak, about how some of his views about what it is that you need to do once you get your integration system running. Could you give us an introduction to who you are and what you have done with SAP integration?
Yeah, I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes. Yeah, we had some.
Really?
We tried out yesterday and it worked fine. Now, yeah, we had a few hiccups, but it seems to be working now.
Okay.
Michael, you confirm, right?
So, yeah, I can hear you very clearly. Can I share my screen and start it actually, or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Share.
Cool. And we
Okay.
can the slide.
Can you see the screen?
Yep, I do.
Okay. All right. So, thank you, Daniel, for this opportunity actually to connect with so many of my colleagues around the world. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone as well. So the agenda for today's integration is quite simple. That okay, you have got a very expensive product in your portfolio, and how to use it with the best, like with full throttle. That is what actually the agenda for today's discussion is. And also, what are the common pain points which is felt by the customers once they move into this particular product? So, without further ado, let's begin on this. So, about me, a very short description for me. I am actually working in Netherlands, and I am an SAP BTP architect basically. And I am more, my area of specialization is obviously Integration Suite and SAP build workflow and automation, and also full stack application development. So usually my solutions are kind of based on the intersection of these three technologies. And currently I am working with Arini Consulting, which is based out of Netherlands. And they actually have got very deep expertise in BTP. So we provide services in all areas of BTP. And my current role, I'm working as an integration architect at Air France-KLM. So that's a short description about me.
Cool, thanks, and thanks for coming on and sharing your insights here with the community. So yep, let's get started.
Yeah.
So
yes.
So I guess the reason for me to bring up this discussion was you shared a post about saying when customers get to own their integration suite after migration, what do they actually know? What's actually important from them? And that is what we wanted to cover here today.
Absolutely. So I'll try to cover the slides. Now, what these slides are not about, actually. So I'm not going to go very deep technical into the things, because every topic is a huge topic in itself. But I will give you some pointers. I will also share my own system, my SAP Integration Suite system, to show a bit of things that how we have done it in Arini as well. And then obviously Daniel will also contribute from the offerings that is there from FIGAF.
Yep.
So it will be a mix. Yes. It will be a little bit of screen sharing and stuff as well.
And that's what we want. We want to cover as much as possible at whatever makes sense and what you're asking for. So yes.
Yes. So today, as in my experience, I have worked in many integration projects, and probably I was also fortunate to have worked with this product since the product was launched in 2013 or 14 or so. So since then, I'm associated with this product. But and these in my last 10 years, I have seen these are the common problems which customers face after acquiring Integration Suite. So the objective why the customer went for Integration Suite is due to obligation. Like they might have a success factor instance, and then they are obligated to go there. Now currently customers have to go there. Again, it's an obligation that they have to move out from PO. And many customers, and there are a few customers who also wants to come out of that very traditional service-based integrations in PO and wants to explore something new. But in all these customers, they actually have a thinking that, okay, I'm spending so much money. I was supposed to build futuristic integration much faster and easily, but is that the reality? So that's one common question that.
I guess that was also
Yes.
a lot of the topics about, okay, we're doing migration. Do we need to do a retransformation of everything, or should we just migrate as is and then start building in a new way on top?
Yeah, yes. So the main core thing is that if I'm spending money, I should get something additional. So if I'm again building same IDOC interfaces, then I'm just replacing the technical component PO with another engine which runs in the cloud. But where is the money being optimized? That is question number one. Second question is that the customers integration architects, they usually experience kind of challenges in building a governance strategy for the integration suite as a product. They might build an integration governance strategy which is only focused on cloud integration, and they kind of ignore others as well. That is a common thing I've seen in many customers as well. And third point is that the key business users, they're completely out of the loop mostly. So they don't have any control, they don't have any visibility. They don't, even if they want to make a small change, they again have to follow the same traditional path of going to a PO consultant, asking him to do that, or provide him with some details. So this futuristic integration is supposed to cater to this demand as well. But is it happening? Again, a question mark. And the fourth is that the PO, the error handling is even better. So in the cloud integration, it appears as the error handling has been degraded a little bit. So it is not because of the product is really good, but it is because of certain things that we have to do manually. Like in PO, if a server is down, we can switch off the channel, but the messages get retained in the internal queues. So that is a very good thing, which PO offers out of the box. But this kind of thing is not there in CPI or in Integration Suite. So we have to handle it in a different way. So these are the four common points which I feel are the most common problems by the customer.
I do like the fact that you said that the error handling in PI was good. Or what I somehow heard, like, yeah. Yes. Yes,
and it is also going to work for heavy loads, like 100,000 IDOCs was released, but the target system was down. No problem. The PO, we just switched off the PO channel, and everything is queued up. And when the server is up, we will just turn on the queue, turn on the channel. So that's a very easy way of handling such a big problem. But imagine this problem happened in CPI.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Okay, cool.
So you want to contribute something on this more, Daniel?
No, I think that covers. I hope we could a bit more into the details about some of these different things. I definitely have a lot of views on these topics, but let's see where it takes. And yeah, questions, comments. There's a QA section. Just put them in there.
Okay. Yes, please. Questions. Please keep them coming. As well. So now, from a very high-end point, even if we before start going into CPI, what are the top, the most important features that an integration suite is an iPaaS, right? So what an mature iPaaS should happen? The first iPaaS actually is the lower time to market. So the time taken to build an interface in PO versus the time taken to build the same in CPI, there should be a drastic reduction in the time. But usually that is again not the case. Why? Because we tend to create everything in CPI. We kind of ignore the features offered by other components. That is one problem. Second problem is that we do not create templates in CPI. So let's say today I'm doing a file interface. Again, what if another file interface comes? The person will again start from scratch. So that thing should be avoided actually. Yeah. Because in PIPO, you can at least reuse message, data types. You can use some components of ESR. you can
And
reuse
obviously
channels,
the error
right?
retry handling is default.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. So in PO, you just focus on the mapping if a new interface comes in. But in CPI, we don't do that basically. So we should have the mindset of dividing the integration task in different components and building CPI templates. So when a first kind of interface comes in, we should actually think of it that this will be a template for my future similar interfaces, and the development should be built keeping that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second thing is that advanced monitoring and analytics. Now, this is a very, very good domain that SAP has a lot of offerings from SAP. So I've plugged in almost everything. SAP CAM, all these things are there. But what more you can do is that you have got PostgreSQL, a nice database which can be hosted on the cloud. Very, very cost effective. It is hardly costing, I think 5 or 7 euros. Or if you are actually having an on-prem, you have unlimited access. Now, a CAP layer sitting on top of the PGSQL can serve as for archiving messages as well as staging messages which have system downtime. So imagine a situation when you are receiving 100,000 IDOCs. Now, I do not have any place to stage these 100,000 IDOCs. Where will I stage them? I should not stage them in event mesh. I can do that, but it will be very memory intensive. So can I stage those IDOCs in PostgreSQL, which is completely in my control? The complete memory is in my control.
So you're building a custom application where you can say, hey, we have this message, put it into the database, and then view it or monitor it later. But that is then costing an extra message to send out such statuses, right?
No, because that message will be sent to a CAP endpoint, just like a CAP endpoint. And the CAP endpoint is connected with the PGSQL database. So I'm not going to increase the message count. The message count is still the same. All I'm doing, instead of passing the message to the actual receiver, which is down, I'm passing it to the messages CAP endpoint.
You would only do that for down messages. You would use your custom
downtime. Yes, downtime. So this way you can handle heavy load messages actually. Kind of things.
But why not the DMS? I guess so. Obviously, the DMS has a more limited scope of size of messages you have there.
Yes, DMS is also quite good. I would not say it's bad. It is good. Like we get, I think, 9 GB of space. But 9 GB is. I mean, I don't know how much it will, because I am yet to see a system where a very high volume messaging is there in JMS. Means let's say 3 GB of messages is there in JMS. I have not seen it happening in production till now. Like I've seen happening like 400 messages, 1,000, 2,000, even 10,000 messages I have seen in JMS, but not extremely high load in the scale of 100,000 or something like that. And one more problem with JMS is that once the messages, let's say the messages are there, and you found the retry, you have a checkbox for retry. Now that checkbox actually feature works so slowly, it only shows you first 100 or 200. So I don't know how many times you have to click the retry button. So that is the thing. So this is one example actually we should think about. Strong security implementation. Now, one only key thing I want to highlight is that we create RFCs with CPI. Now, RFC has got an OAuth provisioning here itself. So instead of using basic authentication, we should create an OAuth profile and attach it to the RFC. So in that case, you are not doing any kind of basic authentication with CPI. Whenever you're sending IDOCs, for example, you have to configure the port. So instead of using basic authentication, you are using
SM59 HTTP connector, right? Okay.
Yeah, yes. So that is a good practice. We should completely avoid basic authentication even in the development system, because I don't want my credential store to be flooded with all sorts of basic authentication credentials. I want to keep it clean and under control. And the only way to keep it under control is by avoiding basic authentication. So setting up principal profile.
You still have the OAuth key, but I guess so as I see it, yeah, I don't know, yeah, kind of recall all the configuration, but as I see it, so when you're sending an HTTP request, you are, if you have an OAuth credential, you would add the authentication and you would add some token URL that would then be validated. Oh, what happened here? Oh.
Yes, means I'm trying to avoid basic authentication for every access. If a third-party system is not able to do that, then it's a different story. But anybody who has higher authentication capabilities, I will explore that, even in development.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Robust error handling, there are 4 principles, like it's not my principle, just my experience, like whatever I've seen. It will be discussed in the next slide. So you should test your iFlow in such a, or your interface in such a way that they should not break under these 4 conditions. These 4 conditions which I will discuss later on. And lossless data movement, so there should not be any loss in the data, basically. And yeah, so that happens a lot. And I'll tell you in one very practical scenario, it happens that sometimes when we're connected with event mesh, suddenly the connection gets broken. That AMQP connection gets broken. Or it can also happen due to a faulty retry configuration. It keeps on retrying infinitely and then it gets rejected. And there is no way then to again reprocess the rejected payload. So that kind of thing should not be done. Because I have seen many clients where there are, like, say 100, 200 messages stuck in event mesh and they are not able to reprocess it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Event mesh, I guess, also considering, do you want to use that event mesh or DMS? What's the best? And
yes.
well,
for real-time transaction, obviously, I have to use event mesh only for S4 from this coming data coming. And finally, is obviously since we have a mature iPaaS, we should empower business as well.
Yeah.
So we should create always keep on thinking, like, okay, what apps can I create on top of these interfaces to give them more control and overview. Like, for example, one example is that I do usually is that, let's say there is an interface which does a task and informs an administrator user. Now, let's say a new administrator has joined. So I will not obviously change the iFlow. So all the list of administrator, actually I will host it in the partner directory. So whenever a new administrator comes in, either the entry has to be added there, or the person can himself also add register himself by an app. So this gives flexibility, actually. So you are now informing 2 persons instead of 1 without redeploying the iFlow.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing about it. So empowering business.
Okay. We just got a question here. Let me see if I will
do
the live projection here. I don't know if you can see it. There is something about if you have DMS, DMS can create duplicates depending on where you are in the delivery process. I guess they're in the pipeline. They're using the, what is it called? This thing about ensuring you're not creating duplicates, so they have some kind of a unique.
Okay, UIO, you want to say?
Yeah. You can see that it has been processed, but obviously, if the message is processed 2 times, you don't know where it ends. I guess also a little about the scenario, and probably better to have multiple than 1 or none. But obviously, depending about if you're creating an order at a customer side, that could also be a problem if you're creating two orders. I get that.
Yeah. So in UIO, like exactly once, if you do, there is one special palette for that step for, which is called idempotent process, which is introduced. Yeah. So if you are processing anything in idempotent process, what happens in the background is that unique ID is stored in an OData entity. You can access that OData entity in Postman and see how many unique IDs are logged in your system. Now, sometimes it happens that you have to process a duplicate. So in that situation, if you delete that entry from that OData entity, you can reprocess it again. Because it simply compares whatever ID is coming against the entries in that OData. It is available in api.sap.com. It is called as endpoint repository. So you can check there how many unique IDs are there.
Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah. Now let's see this slide actually. Looking at the enterprise ready iPaaS from a very high level, from 30,000 feet. So here you see there are a lot of components here and a lot of different kind of users are there. Like we have a support user who is supporting, we have a business user, we have app developers, we have architects, and obviously the integration developer. So different components are there for different purpose. For example, we have got the integration assessment for creating governance. It should be used by architects. Using ISM, why it should happen, I'll briefly explain in the next slide. We are also underutilizing a lot API management. We are almost very much underutilizing, and it is an excellent tool for app developers who are consuming APIs. We are also very much, You have something to say, Daniel?
I think, based on our conversation yesterday, you also put in Open Connects. Obviously, I know it's a service, but as I don't see much use of it or where it really makes a lot of sense, because it is about obfuscating or changing the APIs that you have, making it easier to consume, but unless you have like multiple CRM system, I don't see too much in that, or file store you want to send data to, or whatever.
Yeah. So you're right actually, but here what I would say that API management has got some unique features which other products doesn't have actually. So it's all about bringing a kind of a process. So we have to think it that in this way that, okay, I will use the best feature of all the tools. Now API management has got excellent caching process, cost caching abilities, which will reduce your hits to the SAP, especially for master data. Yeah. So if all the master data, let's say somebody wants to read company codes, then instead of every time hitting SAP, you can cache the data in API management. So so that is why I feel that API management should be used in scenarios. It will make your entire landscape little bit, what you can say, it will increase the maturity level, that's it. So SAP also has one maturity level assessment. So implementing all of these increases, it gives you 1 point. But okay, you are using API management to control, mediate APIs, you get 1 point. Your integration layer is one point up. So it is all about creating a practice basically. Because in my current customer, they are heavily using Azure APM a lot. Means there are company policies in place which mandates you to use APM. You cannot just reach out any system directly.
What's the difference between those two API management? Can they do the same, or would you just prefer if you did not have such a mandate? Because I believe or can see the benefit of just having one enterprise API or API management solution, just one place.
Yes. Now, my current customer is more focused in non-SAP things, but certainly 2 redundant API management tools is a waste. We should have only one. Either if you have Azure API, then use that. If you have API management, use that. Either of the one. Now, the problem with SAP Integration Suite is that you cannot pick and choose these products. You have to buy everything, all of them, as a package. So before investing, the customer should also think that what I have, if I already have an Azure API, then I will never use this solution.
Okay.
But I think most customers don't have even an API management solution at all, actually. Maximum customers don't have. So for them, it's a chance to now go for it.
Cool. And Open Connectors?
Open Connector is the most, unpopular
case.
product actually.
Yeah.
Yes, use case. So I'll show you on something. So actually, let me go there actually. How can I, so this is our system. Okay, let me. Where is my? Okay, here it is. Yeah, here it is. So this is the integration suite tenant. Actually, what we have. So why we use open connectors? I'll give a very good glimpse of it. So if I go to this one, you'll see that so here you see I have created one element for S4HANA, which is like strange because SAP means open connectors cannot have connectivity with on-prem. But I still have done it because by it's actually connected to a CPI endpoint. Now, what is the benefit of this? Is that so I created a new element. Is that I can see all the things here like business partners and all. But the best part is this one, bulk. Now, what is the bulk actually? It means that it's very useful for file scenarios. Like when you are, let's say, converting a file into an OData. So what the way we do in CPI is that we read the file, we create OData batches, and then we wait for the batch response, and then we complete. And the entire process takes almost 1 or 2 minutes sometimes.
And then your
Now,
CPI process would hang or would wait or whatever.
it will hang or it might because it is all running in the cloud. Now, in the open connectors, what we can do is that you get the file, you read the file, do the mapping, and just submit it to open connectors. That's it, and disconnect. So you have to do only the mapping in the middleware. Open connect and it will be finished almost in milliseconds. Open connectors, what it will do, it will internally stage the file. It will post it in S4HANA Cloud. And once it is posted successfully, it will give you back a detailed report that which line has failed, which line has successful, what is the error of each line.
And you can do that with all HTTP endpoints? Or with all?
Yeah, we can do with all HTTP endpoints.
Okay.
Yes. So that's why I created a new element here, which is the element for SAP S4HANA Cloud Bootpa. And if you see the setup, it actually connects to a CPI endpoint, actually. Or this is a CPI endpoint. And so because I cannot reach this thing, what you can say? I cannot reach the on-prem environment directly. This one actually is connected to a S4HANA Cloud instance. But if you want to do the same thing in S4HANA on-prem, you have to just create one layer of CPI on top of it and use an element using that.
So there would be a.
So that is one. I know it is a little bit lengthy.
Yeah.
But it's actually this is the benefit. You see, another problem happens is that sending emails. We don't have an email server in CPI. So we know the pain of setting up an email server, but open connectors can send an email using just one line of code.
Okay.
Because they have an inbuilt JavaScript to send emails. So you can expose this entire thing as a API. This formula as an API.
You would call that API from your CPI, or
yeah, I can call it API.
API, and then you will get a email. Okay.
Yeah, so no need to set up SMTP, all those things.
Okay.
One more important thing actually is this common resources is very, very nice. And this is particularly useful for content enricher scenario. So let's say you have a material, you want to also need to know the material text. So usually we do that using content enricher. But the entire thing can be delegated in a single API call. So you can actually create transformers here basically. And using transformers, like here you can write the code here. So I think I have not written a code here actually. Yeah, so you can write a code here, transformers here. So in this transformer code, you can call the other API, the material text, and do the thing here itself. So in CPI, then it becomes simplified. So this is an example how I am using the best of the things.
Okay, cool, thanks. Yes, that's what.
Yeah.
We're getting. Vinay has had seeing him a question. Maybe also something for everybody else if you have things here. Is there any use cases where partner directory would work and traditional value mapping would not? Yeah. So
Yes, Open Connector is kind of has some features of Integration Advisor because there you can do mapping, and it has some features of CPI because you can write formulas. So it is a mix of that actually sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So this is how it should look at 30,000 feet actually.
Okay.
With BTP other services providing add-ons on top of Integration Suite, and you have a PG HANA database as well. So this is how it should look like. Now, let's go to what are the activities we should do before build. Now, Daniel, you raised that why ISM? What is the benefit basically? So ISM is, what is the benefit of ISM actually is that there is one benefit of it actually. So if I again go here and show you a little bit. So the base reason of ISM is that, let's say you give a problem statement to Integration Suite. The SAP Integration Suite will analyze that problem statement, and it will tell what should be the solution for that. So that is basically the reason why we have open connectors. Integration assessment. So let's say, for example, there is a business request here of same by business partner application, and it is, let's say, between Salesforce and S/4HANA Cloud. Let's say a business requirement like comes in like that.
Yep.
Now the system is slow a little bit, so that is written here basically. Once this business solution is submitted, automatically the system SAP will suggest.
Right. So the business would go and say, we need this interface, and they can provide as much data as they need.
Correct. So if you see, they are suggesting that use SAP AIF and SAP CPI. So you can create that kind of rules actually. That okay, under which situation I should use open connectors, under which situation I should use Integration Advisor. So your development team is not deviating. They are not creating their own rules. They're abiding by some well laid out process. And there are a lot of things you can do also here. Means you can see how much your integrations are used, which areas your integrations are being used. Like here, SAP on-prem to non-SAP cloud, I am using something. So as and when you are enriching stuff, these colors will become blue. So you know what is you are doing with your product basically.
Okay.
And one more thing you can do is that, let's say an FSD is submitted in Jira. So that FSD can also be submitted here automatically, and automatically the solution can also be generated by the product. So then nobody needs to analyze as well. So it accelerates a little bit.
But I guess you would still need to go through and figure out is this correct? Is it the right tool?
Yes.
Is it the right pattern, etc. on these things?
Yeah, that is true. You have to go through it. You have to obviously validate it. And the tool is completely based on your gathering. The better the data you supply to this tool, the better it is. And you can actually work with all kind of vendors. Means it's not just SAP. You can work even with non-SAP vendors, like it could be MuleSoft. So this is totally technology agnostic. For customers who have like a distributed integration technologies, they can use this tool or similar tool, something like that. And even if customer has Integration Suite, which component to be used under which scenario? If it's real time, mandate that event mesh should be used. If an event mesh should be used, then the CAP application should be there for high load failures. Now, instead of telling this again and again to the developers, automatically it will be suggested that you do all these things.
Okay.
So that's the benefit I see of conducting an ISM.
Let's say if you're using event mesh and have a criteria about 2,000 messages per minute, then you would add some apps on this.
Yes. So you can customize that thing as per your wish.
There's a question we should probably take here. We are not completing all these things by using multiple components, like sent to cloud open connectors backend, thinking from a business point of view. And I think from business, yes, you want as few components as possible, but maybe also, and I guess that is also, we had a conversation about what happens if you are adding a different integration broker into your landscape. What is the cost of adding that? Not specifically in license terms, but also in terms of operation experience on such a platform. And I guess that no matter what you're doing, if you're adding a new service, you need to have these components in place. There was another question, and this was about the partner directory. What can be done there versus what can be done via a traditional value mapping? One of the things that I see is in the partner directory, you can put a lot more content in. Partner direct in value mappings, you are more focused on specific conversions between values, whereas partner directory is much more fluent. You have better capabilities of adding things on the fly to these things, like the pipeline concept from SAP. Cool. Yes.
Yeah, that's
More
true.
questions? Just put them into the chat. And there's also, can we get the slide after the session?
Can you see the slide?
Will you share the slide with us?
Yeah, I will share the slide. Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
you got the slide. Cool. Good.
Yes. And next, one more important thing is, okay, a very, very common scenario is that we have a dev landscape and a production landscape. And my objective is that a developer, we are using the dev landscape for both quality testing and development as well. So my objective is that
I've asked about also this. Are you using a non-prod for multiple different purposes, as you said here, like QA, dev, QA, production, or do you have separate use cases for these things? So please answer that. Yes, continue.
Yes. So mostly I feel customers have 2 tenants in CPI. But in underlying SAP world, they have 3 at least. So we use the dev tenant for development as well as quality, connectivity. Now the challenge is that how do I make the quality packages only configurable and the dev packages editable? So the person has to, when he logs in, he should only be able to configure the quality packages, but he should be able to edit the dev packages. So this can be implemented by a smart implementation of, we need custom IDP for that. And we have to, the custom IDP why we need is that obviously I can assign roles to your email ID and you have just one email ID. But in custom IDP, you can create these virtual users as well. So let's say you create a virtual user for quality. So once you log in through quality into the tenant, you can only configure the quality packages, but you cannot edit the dev packages. You can only configure. And that has to be done by custom role templates that way. And when you log in through the as a developer,
configure access. Okay. Yep.
Yes. And once you log in by as a developer, you can see the configure quality packages, but you cannot edit them. But you can edit only the dev packages. So that's, even if instead of laying down as a rule, even if a developer wants, he cannot break the rule. So that's how strong the governance should be.
And I guess, yeah, for this is also one of the things that we started building in the FIGAF tool also as a part of governance, because we believe you should have this ability to separate this thing. Because if you have the ability to just edit the QA package, you could just go in and do it, and you have no governance control over these things. Answer is there are most 8 versus 6. 8 has is using this multiple different tenants. So this is a good option. FIGAF tool is also an option where you have this as a part of the transport process. And the way we're doing is that you just only give the FIGAF tool access to all packages, starting with, for instance, QA. And then you can do all the work only on the dev packages, transported to QA, and then it's only FIGAF that can modify, configure these specific results. there. Cool.
Yep. Yes. And next, what most of us ignore to do is creating like a centralized developer hub. Now we have got, let's say, two API management tenant. One is for the production, one is for the development. But both of them are connected to the same portal. So the person who is going to consume the APIs, he does not need to log in for a different portal for dev and a different portal for production. So that is a concept which is called centralized developer hub. It's a one-time activity which you have to do. So that two different API management are consolidated in a single portal. So that actually helps a lot, so that the person can browse development APIs, production APIs, quality APIs, all in a single window.
Okay.
So that also
then you
should be done.
register for the products, the dev products or the QA products.
Dev product, yes, exactly. Yes, we can publish in that way.
And you can see that, is it so strong? You can see that you have the business partner API, whatever it is, deployed in both QA and dev. In production, we do only have view business partner, not create yet.
Yes, correct. Absolutely. Okay. So we will remove the test button from the production.
Cool.
Then we should have, these are the four principles actually of the robust. So we should also always gracefully exit after an error. That is one. We should notify the targeted person with maximum information. So not notify everybody, but notify the targeted person with maximum information. And we should have reduced dependency on business for retry. The developer should be themselves capable to retry instead of asking functional, oh, please retry the IDOCs again. Please resend the, please restart that transaction again. You should be independent. And finally, you should be able to withstand outages. So if a system is down for 3-4 hours and heavy load comes in during that time, your strategy should be able to handle that kind of scenarios.
But I guess a lot of so I guess if you're just looking at the integration or cloud integration, if that one is down, I guess it would anyway reject all requests and you would need to find something about it. I guess it's more about if your target system is down for maintenance, whatever the S4 system is down for maintenance, that would be a more likely scenario for this.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, absolutely. If it is down for maintenance or something, then it can happen. Or some an unpredictable bug comes in and the system crashes. That way also it can happen. Invest a lot in edge integration cell because it will reduce the load on cloud runtime as well as save you money. So they try to deploy maximum things in the edge itself and run few things in the cloud. So only so this is an advice only. And this one is a very big topic, so I will skip this. And please explore a nice CI/CD option like FIGAF has. I think Daniel will say. But SAP has got CI/CD. We also can use GitHub Actions, which is also very good. I have experienced this as well. It works quite nicely. And yeah, so this is pretty much, this combined with governance will give you the flavor. And I think
I guess in a lot of cases you cannot really have governance. Oh, yeah, you need the governance or CID, CD, or some other framework to have the governance, because it becomes really difficult to get all of these things in place in one simple way.
Yes. So even before this entire thing setup will actually take you 2 to 3 months. But you are building the foundations here basically. And foundation is strong. So that is a good part. And during the build, I'm just listing the points which are usually overlooked. Like a lot of points are there. So, for example, our naming, we only focus on naming convention CPI. What should be the name of iFlow and this and that. But for all components of Integration Suite, what should be the name of the MIG or MAG? What should be the name of the partner in the TPM? What should be the the queue name conventions and all those? Everything should be mentioned. And we should see all these common templates which I was talking about. And the first development should be a template-based development. And we should prepare a template for next scenarios.
Yeah.
Deciding runtimes, like which interface should run on the cloud, which interface should run on-prem, very important to decide that. And any global level,
Yeah, so actually on the naming convention, I think it's super critical. We've just been going through what we think on the B2B because there
Mm.
it becomes really important how you are naming different things, but obviously also just IFOs. How do you make sure that you can find logic in these things? And I guess more importantly, how do you make sure the next person that is going to take over this have any clue about what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And take a decision, wise decision that which should be externalized and which should be partner made, partner directly available. Because externalization change means you have to redeploy. So there is a redeployment activity, but partner directory is on the fly. So make a decision that what should be, I should keep it in partner directory, what should I keep in externalization versus some global constants, maybe some value mappings or something, whatever. So next is that make CP as a default integration broker of S/4HANA, just like PO is. And we should do it using XI configuration. So you should go to XSMB ADN and do all those configurations so that any proxy messages coming out of SAP will automatically go to CPI. We should not go do any SOA manager configurations. SOA manager is not transportable, and it is any change in the middleware means you have to change everything again, all the SOA manager. So I will avoid SOA manager and do everything in XI because XI has got more benefits. It gives you an option of a JMS queue as well for failing for retries. So that is what I do, and obviously no basic authentication. Integration advisor is a good thing which I use for it has a potential to become the ESR of integration suite. Like in PIPO we have got the obviously ESR. So integration advisor can play the role of an ESR. And now it is very easy actually nowadays.
Can you upload a proxy scenario to the integration advisor?
No, it's all about like for integration advisor we can just do the mappings, and now we can also if let's say I can also access exchange properties inside the integration advisor mapping. Even that is possible now.
Okay.
So that means that most of the thing, a very lengthy message mapping, there's a difference between message mapping. The key difference is that message mapping is a schema to schema based, but integration advisor is payload to payload. So you have to define the payload properly. So, but the mapping experience is very easy. So I would rather for it and all the schemas in any export system, on-prem, cloud, SOAP, iDocs, OData, everything is available in integration advisor, all the schemas. So it is a high candidate for at least SAP integration.
Yep.
If it is SuccessFactors, maybe still go for that. Then we can also make it as a microservice-based development approach as well. This is an interesting concept. Let's say somebody is sending you an iDocs. So what we usually do, we are creating a gateway, and inside that the routers are there. Okay, this is the SOAP action process using that. But do not send it immediately. Maybe keep it in a queue, and then another handler will read from that queue. You can also go break your interfaces in small microservices. So what is the benefit of this is that you can restart the retry from any given point. You will have many points of essentially doing a retry, like we have in PIPO. We can restart a message from several points before input, after input, before mapping. So that kind of flavor can we do it in CPI. That's a very good actually if you can do.
Yeah. If you have questions, then put them into the Q&A. We can cover a few of those things also. Maybe. That's a lot of.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm almost reaching the end. So emphasis on the QoS, the quality of service, which is very important. The quality of service is this EO/IO stuff that Daniel you're talking about, and all these adapters, XI, IDOC, SOAP, AS2, all of them deal with this quality of service. So we have to ensure that duplicates are not processed. And one problem in there is that when we say EO/IO, it is already in order, means first in, first out. But sometimes you need to process by sales order number, let's say. In that situation, EO/IO is not going to be sufficient. You have to use a special step which is called aggregator, because aggregator is the only step in CPI who can sequence a set of payloads based on a number, sales order number, invoice number. So think of it that way. That do I need to do it?
Probably
Yeah?
more like
So do I need to do it?
more use the timestamp number, right? In these scenarios.
Yeah, it could be anything. Timestamp also. So by default, CPI will process in based of FIFO, first in, first out. So it is possible that the sales order coming from 2-3 systems, the first one is has to be processed later. Might be the case in some very unique scenario. So think about that as well. Aggregatory is a very good step, which is there in CPI.
Yeah. There's a question here. Which is a robust way to connect S4 HANA, RFC, API, or IDAC for integration? I guess that, yeah. What do you?
So the robust way is just like I said.
Yeah.
Yes. Please continue. Yeah, continue. I'll then say.
What do you think is the best way to connect S4 HANA to Integration Suite? APIs?
Yes. So this is the best way, I would say. For SOAP-based messages, we should always do XI-based configuration setup instead of SOA manager. That is any day I will do. And for IDOCs, I will still use RFC, but that RFC will be OAuth enabled. I will not do basic authentication.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Caching we already discussed. Open connectors also we discussed, and we can also create a customer branded developer portal also. Just that if you need, you should. I did for one customer and I pretty enjoyed it a lot. I created all the brands, all the logos and all, and the customer was like very happy. He was seeing all the tiles, like just like in api.sap.com, but his logo was appearing on the top. So he was very, very much happy as well. So you can also go for that kind of thing as well.
It is a lot of effort to put in all of these documentation, right?
Yeah, it's a long effort. But what is the hurry? I mean, that's the thing. World is not ending tomorrow. Keep it, do it slow, but not too slow, but not too fast as well. I mean, that is what I feel.
But obviously, yeah, you need to have the documentation. Otherwise, it does not make sense. From these things.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is the final slide. So next point is that you have to keep improving. Obviously, you have done all these 4 points. You have created a robust integration layer. You have the strategy to identify which combination of integration technologies will be used for which purpose. You have maximized the usage of integration suite components. You are almost using everything. And your development team has a guidance available in terms of how to tackle a particular scenario.
So that would be
all these things are there now.
In your view, the ISIM is the way you should have implemented for this.
ISM plus governance plus CI/CD.
Okay.
All three combinations: ISM, governance, and CI/CD. They have a guidance to do everything, how to move messages, all these things.
Yeah.
And next step is that these are the advanced things. Now in Solace, we have micro integrations available, so you can do mapping in Solace also or advanced event mesh. So we can explore that area. So we can use, let's say, one FSD submitted in Jira, let's say. We can use AI for extracting the key parts of that FSD, that what is the source and the target, and we automatically create an entry in the SAP Integration Assessment. And from there, automatically, immediately, the system gives predictions as well. You see how it happens, nice flow. We use AI as well to extract information from FSD and prepare the solution out of it on the slide.
That would obviously, and then put it in that cost estimate that this is most likely going to cost you 10 or 20 days. Is that something you have
Yes.
your cost center budget? Yes. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have instead of using emails, we can also use queues for real-time monitoring. What I mean to say is that whenever any error comes, instead of sending emails, you send it to a queue, that error. And then you actually can consume that queue or topic by various applications. And then you can create nice dashboards to see errors happening in real time, basically. And this is something which I have seen actually in a customer. So instead of whenever an error happens, they pass it to a topic, and from the topic it goes to many queues. And each queue consumer has their own dashboard and own approach to handle those errors. So they can actually do a real-time analysis of how the errors are happening now. They will just keep on refreshing and things will change. So that is one advanced way. These are some wow factor integrations which I have done in the past. And finally, we can scale up the event mesh to advanced event mesh as well.
Yeah, so you just use the event mesh you get in as a proof of concept, figure out is that, are we going to be an event organization? If you are, then yeah, go to the advanced event mesh. There's some questions on the clean core where you says here, clean ABAP S4 cloud does not support IDOC, so SOAP async or OData for sync connection is the way to go. Another
Yes.
about you cannot use IDOC sim. So obviously you should use the part that you have access to, the interfaces. And if you are going to build new integration, and I guess that's the only thing you're doing in S4 Cloud, you don't need to use the IDOC. You need to use the new things and maybe even the event brokerage of it as a way to inform these things. And we had a good question about that, was a way for SAP just to get more license revenue from these newer technology for these things. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are the key steps which I have prepared. Like every step actually is a big topic. Like for example, implementing caching, for example, is how will you do it? Where will you do it? So this is itself requires a lot of investigation. So, but this will give a very good brief highlights about what we should do to make this platform very mature, very powerful, and cost effective as well.
Yeah.
So that was my agenda of the discussion. Yeah.
Cool. Really, thank you. Yeah, good. A lot of insights. Yes, you will get this whenever we get around to send out the replay, most likely Monday, something like that. There's a comment here about implementing a lot of Groovy scripts can lead to slower processing. Yes, if you don't know how to work efficiently with your Groovy, just cancel the share screen. Stop the screen.
Okay, I'll stop it now.
So obviously, a lot of Groovy scripts can lead to a lot of overloading or slow processing. But I guess the other thing is also the case if you build a lot of different steps that could be achieved in a Groovy script. I saw a case where someone needed to split a number or unzip a file, split a number of files, do some processing on each of these things, and then merge them into a zip file. And obviously, you could have a simpler Groovy script if you just had it inside of this loop. But if you also created the Groovy script to unzip, process all the files, it was a lot faster. And obviously, that is some kind of a balance. What is it that is the ideal scenario for your case? Yes, I don't have more comments, questions, really. Yeah, thank you for sharing your insights on this. Good, got a lot of good comments on it, so that was really good. So the commonly used Groovy script, we don't, we have some in our, I guess the best place is to look at api.sp.com. There is a lot of standard packages from SAP with different Groovy scripts. And I think that is probably the best place. You have a Groovy script swipe file that you can just plug into all your customers.
Yeah. You asked the question to me?
Yes.
To be honest, I don't use Groovy script at all nowadays. Okay. I completely go with JavaScript only. It's been years I stopped using it.
Why?
Actually.
Why?
I mean, it becomes it's my limitation. I cannot work with multiple programming languages. So if I am doing full stack, it's all JavaScript. And I feel, XML modification in JavaScript is so easy. So easy. Like in Groovy, at least you have to do so many things like those closure stuff are there. Nothing is stored in JavaScript. One line. Really, I'm telling you. I will share some code snippet to update and read. You'll see how easy it is.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
there is a problem there. If the payload is very big, then JavaScript fails miserably. Means if it is like, let's say, 200,000 records, that JavaScript will take 10 minutes to run. It's not a good performance one, but that's what I use. I try to optimize my
Because
integration in that.
the JavaScript is compiled into Java and then run or into a Groovy script or something like that.
Yes.
There's a question or comment, I guess. Are you should we rely on ICM to tell us which tool to use for an integration scenario? How well is it the ICM to suggest which is the right tool for using
Yes.
this?
So this depends on how good your assessment is. So the tool is as good as the assessment you have done. There is a standard template from SAP, but the template is not that perfect, I would say you. Because basically you have to tell that, okay, for a certain integration domain, which can be a cloud to cloud, for a certain style, which is process integration, for a certain use case, let's say success factor to SAP, what will be my solution? So these three things has to be represented in a slide, basically. Now these are 3 dimensions. So how do you represent a 3-dimension thing in a slide, in a 2D slide? That is the challenge. So I have a slide with me where I customize that ISM template and capture this information. So I know exactly this capturing method. If you capture it well, the tool is really good. But you have to capture it nicely, the information.
So the template is a good place to start, but it does require effort for you to customize it correctly.
Yes, it needs a little bit of rework on top of it.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the questions. Good. I think let's end now. It has been really good. Hopefully we can do another session another time. And if some of you guys want to share some of your insights, best practices, ping me or us, and we will try to set up something and share some ideas. Thanks. Yep. Have a good weekend, and we will talk soon. Bye.
All right. Thanks a lot for joining this webinar. Thanks a lot, and have a nice weekend as well. Bye-bye.